Okay, students, welcome to the screencast here for 7th grade social studies. We're entering a new unit on Israel and Palestine. And it's a pretty complex unit with lots of different terms and maybe concepts and places that we haven't learned so much about before and are quite frankly pretty tough. So we're going to walk you through step by step online with videos here called screencasts. And the beauty of the screencast is that I can deliver the content, Ms. Fossen can deliver the content, and then you can go back kind of at your leisure whenever you work best and view these, take notes, and if you didn't understand something, rather than have to raise your hand in class and kind of everyone has to stop and go back and whatever, you can just go back, hit pause, rewind, watch again and again and again until you understand it. And of course, we'd always be willing to talk to you about things that you're wondering about otherwise in class. But let's get started here. Let's view a slideshow of this. First concept here, guys, is on, and we're calling it "This Land Is My Land," about Israel and Palestine, a very small patch of land in the Eastern Mediterranean, and it has everything to do with all of our course topics about religion and conflict and the Eastern Hemisphere and all of these different things. So, first one here is on geography. So what you're going to need is your completed map assignment and 5 post-it notes. Now, if you didn't have post-it notes at home, you could always, I suppose, cut up a sheet of paper and use that. Maybe a piece of tape and attach it to your map there too. But post-its would obviously be preferred here. All right, so take notes on the post-its and overlay them on the parts of your map that are relevant. All right, first place you need to understand on your map is the state of Israel. It is a nation in the Middle East. It's the only Jewish nation on earth. Jews make up less than 1% of the world's population, and so they're minorities in every other country on earth, but they're a majority here in Israel, and it was actually founded by Jewish people in 1948. This is also the historic Holy Land. You'll see references to Israel, obviously, in the Jewish Torah and the Christian Bible. Places like Jerusalem, Bethlehem. There you see the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, the Dead Sea, the River Jordan. Lots of places you probably, the Red Sea down there at the very bottom, Egypt. Over and over again, these places kind of show up in the Old Testament of the Bible or the Jewish Torah. So if you're a religious person in one of those religions, you likely recognize a lot of these places. So this is Israel. And again, guys, note that Israel spelled with an A-E, because what you'll try to do is, what 7th graders typically try to do is spell it I-S-R-E-A-L, and it's I-S-R-A-E-L. Next place you need to understand is Palestine. Palestine isn't really on your map, but it is. We can talk about that. Palestine can mean, historically, the whole region, so you'll see references to Palestine in the Bible, things like that. The Roman accounts will talk about Palestine. So it's this region between the Mediterranean Sea and the River Jordan, right through here. So this narrow stretch of land is like 30-40 miles here on the Eastern Mediterranean. The term here dates back to the ancient Greeks, even before the Romans. So Palestine today, the modern meaning means that the Arab territories within Israel. So after partition, we'll talk about what that means, but after 1948, Israeli Jews, mostly Jews, settled in the purple areas on this map, while the Arab populations settled on the yellow parts, which are the West Bank and the Gaza Strip mainly. Those are where we'll talk about. These aren't not really a nation officially, according to the United Nations and other groups in most countries, so often they're referred to as the Palestinian territory. So the West Bank, here it's on the West Bank of the River Jordan. That's what it's called, that. And then the Gaza Strip right here. These are the 2 places where, a couple million Arab refugees or Arab citizens basically live here within Israeli control. All right, again, the West Bank here, one of the 2 Palestinian territories we'll focus on, and actually in a couple of videos we'll watch, and this will be the one that we really focus on. Right. So again, the West Bank of the River Jordan and the Dead Sea, and it does connect here basically with Jerusalem, right? This holy city here we'll talk about. And as we see the ancient and modern city of Jericho, again from the Old Testament of the Bible. The Gaza Strip is the second of the two Palestinian territories. It's much smaller, but it has a population of about 1 million people. And as we can see here, this little tiny stretch here is 8 kilometers wide on this scale here. And so that's about how long? Maybe 16, 20 kilometers. All right. So just a stretch of 5, 6 miles, something like that here, wide on the Mediterranean coast. So not that much land, and there's 1 million Palestinian Arabs living in the Gaza Strip, and of course it borders Egypt. Jerusalem, the city of Jerusalem, it is the capital of Israel, holy city for all what we call Abrahamic religions. So Jews, Muslims, and Christians consider this to be a holy site. I had an Israeli professor in college who said you must visit Jerusalem. It is the religious Disneyland, and you'll see lots of tourists there, lots of people, during Easter week, around Christmas time, making kind of Christian pilgrimages to Jerusalem. But of course, it is a part of it's the capital of the Jewish state, and one of the most holy sites in Islam here on the Temple Mount, called the Dome of the Rock, is also kind of right in between it, and right next to it, the holiest site in the holiest site in Judaism, called the Western or the Wailing Wall. That's the western wall of the Temple of King Solomon from the Jewish Torah. Is right here too. So right on top of each other, right in all in one place. This is the old city, the old walled city. Today it's kind of a modern metropolis, of over 1 million people. But it had quarters. Here we have the Muslim quarter around the Dome of the Rock, the Christian quarter, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. These are places like where, for instance, they think that Jesus was crucified or buried. Different churches. The Armenian quarter, and then the Jewish quarter down here. So it's separate. We'll hear often in this unit, or read often about different quarters of Jerusalem. This is what they're referring to. All right, that's it for now. That's the first. This is the geography one. Students, go ahead and close this one down and move on to the next screencast. Thanks a lot.